What if you stopped expecting life to disappoint you? What if instead of waking up each day worried about what might go wrong, you trained your mind to believe that somehow, in some way, everything will work out? This does not mean pretending that problems do not exist. It does not mean sitting still and waiting for life to save you. It means developing a deeper kind of trust in your ability to face whatever happens, learn from it, adapt to it, and continue moving forward. Many people suffer twice. First, they suffer from the problem itself. Then they suffer from all the imaginary disasters their mind creates about what might happen next. They spend their energy fighting battles that have not even arrived, but imagine living differently. Imagine entering difficult situations with a calm mind. Imagine hearing bad news without immediately believing that your life is falling apart. Imagine trusting that even if the path changes, you will find another way. When you begin to act as if everything will eventually work out, you stop giving fear complete control over your decisions. You become calmer, you think more clearly, you take better action. And when life does not go according to your plan, you do not collapse, you adjust. One of the biggest sources of unnecessary suffering is the habit of imagining the worst before it even happens. A small problem appears, and immediately the mind begins creating a chain of frightening possibilities. One unanswered message becomes rejection, one mistake becomes failure, one delay becomes proof that everything is going wrong. Before reality has even revealed the outcome, the mind has already traveled into a future filled with fear. But ask yourself, how many times have you worried about something that never happened? How many nights have you lost sleep over a situation that eventually worked itself out? The mind often believes that worrying is a form of preparation. It tells you that if you think about every possible disaster, you will somehow be ready for it. But excessive worry does not prepare you. It often drains your energy, weakens your focus, and makes you emotionally suffer through situations that exist only in your imagination. When something difficult happens, learn to pause. Do not immediately ask, "What if everything goes wrong?" Instead, ask, "What do I actually know right now?" Stay with the facts. Perhaps you do not have all the answers yet. That is okay. You do not need to solve every possible future problem in this moment. You only need to deal with what is actually in front of you. A powerful habit is to remind yourself, asterisk, until it happens, it is only a possibility, not a reality. This simple shift can bring tremendous peace. Your thoughts are not predictions. Your fears are not facts. Just because your mind can imagine something does not mean that it will happen. Of course, life will sometimes bring unexpected challenges. Acting as if everything will work out does not mean believing that nothing difficult can ever happen. It means refusing to destroy your peace before you even know what you are facing. If a problem comes, you will meet it when it arrives. You will think, adapt, learn, and take the next step. Stop rehearsing disasters in your mind. Stop allowing an uncertain future to steal the peace of the present moment. Take a breath. Look at where you are. Focus on what you can do today. Maybe everything will not happen exactly as you expect, but that does not mean everything is falling apart. There may be a solution you cannot see yet, an opportunity hidden inside the difficulty, or a path that has not revealed itself. So when your mind begins whispering, asterisk, what if everything goes wrong? Answer it with something stronger. Asterisk, what if I stop fearing the future and trust myself to handle whatever comes? That is where peace begins. Not everything that happens in your life will feel good. Some experiences will disappoint you. Some plans will fail. Some people will leave. Some opportunities will disappear when you thought they were exactly what you needed. In those moments, it is easy to ask, why is this happening to me? But there is another question that can completely change the way you see difficult situations. Asterisk, what can this experience teach me? Every situation carries a lesson if you are willing to look deeply enough. Sometimes the lesson is patience, sometimes it is self-respect. Sometimes it is learning not to depend on others for your happiness. And sometimes the lesson is discovering a strength you never knew you had. Think about the challenges you have already survived. At one time, some of them may have felt impossible. You may have believed that you would never recover, never find another opportunity, or never feel peaceful again. Yet here you are. You continued, you learned, you changed, and perhaps you became stronger because of what you went through. This is why you must be careful about calling every difficult experience a failure. A setback may simply be a lesson that has not revealed its value yet. A rejection may be teaching you to improve. A loss may be teaching you what truly matters. A wrong decision may give you the wisdom to make a better one in the future. When you trust that every situation can teach you something, you stop seeing yourself as a helpless victim of every unpleasant event. You begin to take your power back. You may not control what happens, but you can choose what you learn from it. This does not mean you should be happy about every painful experience. Pain is real, and some situations deserve to be felt deeply. But even in difficult moments, you can ask yourself, how can I grow from this without allowing it to define me? That question creates movement. Instead of remaining trapped in regret, you begin searching for understanding. Instead of repeatedly asking why something happened, you begin asking what you can do differently now. Sometimes life removes what you were desperately holding on to because it is time for you to grow beyond it. Sometimes the path you wanted closes because another path is waiting for you to become ready enough to see it. You do not always understand the purpose of a difficult moment while you are living through it. Clarity often comes later, but you can still trust that every experience has the potential to make you wiser, stronger, and more aware. So do not be afraid of setbacks. Learn from them. Do not be ashamed of mistakes. Study them. Do not believe that one difficult chapter is the end of your story. Take the lesson, carry the wisdom, and keep moving forward. One day, you may look back at the very thing that once broke your heart and realize that it also helped build the person you were meant to become. Life becomes much heavier when you approach every challenge with the expectation that something will go wrong. When your mind is constantly waiting for disaster, even small difficulties can feel overwhelming. But when you develop a calm expectation that there is always a way forward, you begin to experience life differently. Problems may still appear, but you no longer immediately give them the power to control your emotions. Imagine facing a difficult situation and telling yourself, I do not have all the answers right now, but I will figure this out. Those words create space in your mind. Instead of panic, there is patience. Instead of fear, there is the willingness to look for a solution. A calm mind does not mean that you never feel worried. It means that you do not allow worry to become your master. When something unexpected happens, your first reaction matters. Many people immediately assume the worst. They panic, complain, blame, and imagine that their entire future is now destroyed. But often, the situation is not as permanent or as hopeless as it first appears. There is power in taking a breath before reacting. Pause, look at the situation clearly, ask yourself, asterisk, what can I do from here? You may not be able to change everything, but there is almost always a next step. Perhaps you need more information. Perhaps you need to ask for help. Perhaps you need to try again. Perhaps you simply need time before the answer becomes clear. Acting as if everything will work out means trusting that you do not need to solve your entire life today. You only need to take the next wise step. Calm expectation also changes the energy you bring into situations. When you expect failure, you may hesitate to take action. You may give up too early because you already believe there is no point in trying. But when you believe that a solution is possible, you remain open. You pay attention. You become more creative. You notice opportunities that fear may have hidden from you. This does not mean blindly believing that every situation will end exactly the way you want. Sometimes the outcome will be different from your original plan, but different does not always mean worse. A changed direction may lead you towards something you never considered before. The goal is to develop a quiet confidence within yourself, not the confidence that says, asterisk, nothing bad can ever happen to me, but the deeper confidence that says, asterisk, whatever happens, I will remain present, I will learn, I will adapt, and I will continue. When you carry this mindset, life stops feeling like a constant emergency. You stop running ahead of yourself, trying to predict every outcome. You begin to trust the process of taking one step at a time. So when the next challenge appears, do not immediately surrender to fear. Remind yourself, asterisk, there is a solution, a lesson, or a new direction waiting to be discovered. I will stay calm long enough to find it. That is how you begin moving through life with calm expectation. One of the greatest sources of stress in life is trying to control things that were never completely within your control. You can plan carefully, work hard, make the right decisions, and give your best effort, but you still cannot control every outcome. You cannot control what other people think. You cannot force someone to understand you. You cannot predict every event, prevent every disappointment, or guarantee that life will unfold exactly according to your plan. The more you fight to control everything, the more exhausted you become. There is a difference between being responsible and being obsessed with the outcome. Responsibility means doing what you can. It means preparing yourself, taking action, learning from your mistakes, and giving your best. Obsession means constantly worrying about what might happen after you have already done everything you can. Learn to recognize where your responsibility ends. Ask yourself, asterisk, have I done what I can do right now? If the answer is yes, then perhaps the next step is not more worrying. Perhaps the next step is to wait, trust, and allow life to unfold. This does not mean becoming passive. It does not mean giving up or refusing to take responsibility for your life. You still have to make decisions. You still have to work toward your goals. You still have to face difficult conversations and uncomfortable situations. But after taking the necessary action, you must learn to release the part that is no longer yours to control. For example, you can prepare for an opportunity, but you cannot force someone to choose you. You can communicate honestly, but you cannot control how another person responds. You can work hard toward a goal, but you cannot control every obstacle that may appear along the way. Your power lies in your actions, your attitude, and your response. When you understand this, you begin to protect your peace. Instead of spending hours worrying about possibilities, you return your attention to the present moment instead of asking, asterisk, what if this does not work? You remind yourself, asterisk, I have done my part. I will handle whatever comes next. That is a powerful way to live. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is nothing, not because you are weak, but because you have already done what needed to be done. Sometimes you must allow time to reveal what action alone cannot. Trusting the process means accepting uncertainty without allowing it to destroy your peace. You may not know the outcome today, but you do not need to. Your job is not to control the entire future. Your job is to take the next step with clarity and courage. So give your best effort, prepare yourself. Take action when action is needed. Learn when there is something to learn. Then let go. Release the need to force every door open. Release the need to know every answer immediately. Release the belief that worrying will somehow change the future. Act as if everything will work out by trusting yourself enough to do your part and trusting life enough to let the rest unfold. A delay can feel like rejection when you are impatient for something to happen. You work toward a goal, you expect progress, and then suddenly nothing seems to move. The opportunity does not arrive, the answer does not come, the relationship does not develop the way you hoped, the door you were waiting for remains closed. In that moment, it is easy to believe that something has gone wrong, but a delay is not always a disaster. Sometimes you simply cannot see what is happening behind the scenes. We often judge our lives according to timing. We think if it has not happened by now, it must never happen. But life does not always follow the schedule we create in our minds. Something can take longer than expected and still become exactly what you needed. Think about how often you have wanted something desperately, only to discover later that getting it at that earlier moment would not have been good for you. Perhaps you were not ready. Perhaps you lacked the experience, patience, confidence, or understanding required to handle it properly. Perhaps what looked like a missed opportunity was actually giving you time to prepare for a better one. This is why you should stop treating every delay as proof that you are failing. A pause can be preparation, a closed door can be redirection, a slower path can be protection. You do not have to understand the reason immediately. When something is delayed, instead of asking, asterisk, why is this happening to me? Asterisk, what can I do with this time? Use the waiting period to become stronger, improve your skills, take care of yourself, learn something new, reconsider your strategy, strengthen your discipline. Sometimes the most important progress happens during the season when nothing appears to be happening. The danger is allowing impatience to make decisions for you. When you become desperate for an outcome, you may accept things that are beneath your standards simply because you are tired of waiting. You may chase people who are not choosing you. You may force opportunities that are clearly not aligned with you. You may abandon your goal just before circumstances begin to change. Do not let temporary silence convince you that your story is over. There is also wisdom in accepting that some things will never happen exactly as you imagined. Acting as if everything works out does not mean every dream will arrive in its original form. Sometimes you receive something different, but better suited to who you have become. Your responsibility is to keep moving without becoming obsessed with the timeline. If the door is closed, do not spend your entire life standing in front of it. Look around. There may be another entrance, there may be another direction, there may be an opportunity you have not noticed because you were too focused on the one you wanted. Trust that a delay is simply a moment in time, not a final judgment on your future. Keep preparing, keep growing, keep taking the next step, and when you cannot see what is coming next, remind yourself, asterisk, I do not need everything to happen today. What is meant for my growth will meet me when I am ready to receive it. Sometimes life is not saying no. Sometimes it is simply saying asterisk, not yet. The strongest form of confidence is not believing that nothing will ever go wrong. It is knowing that when something does go wrong, you will still find a way forward. Life will not always follow your plans. There will be unexpected changes, disappointments, failures, and moments when you have no idea what to do next. But those moments do not have to destroy you. They can become proof that you are capable of handling more than you once believed. Think about everything you have already survived. There were probably moments when you thought you could not continue, yet somehow you did. You found another morning, you made another decision, you took another step. Maybe you did not have all the answers, but you kept moving. That is the strength you need to remember. You do not need to become someone who never struggles. You need to become someone who refuses to stay defeated. When something does not work, learn from it. When a plan fails, adjust it. When a door closes, look for another direction. When someone walks away, allow yourself to feel the loss, but do not allow their absence to convince you that you are incomplete. There is always a next step. Sometimes that next step is obvious. Sometimes you have to search for it. Sometimes you need to rest before you can see it clearly, but you can trust yourself to keep looking. This mindset changes the way you respond to failure. Instead of saying, asterisk, this proves I cannot do it, you begin saying, asterisk, this approach did not work. What can I learn from it? That small change is powerful. Failure becomes information instead of identity. A mistake becomes a lesson instead of a permanent label. A setback becomes a temporary chapter instead of the definition of your life. You begin to understand that your future is not decided by one bad day, one wrong choice, one rejection, or one unexpected obstacle. Your future is shaped by what you do after those moments. There will be times when you need to begin again. Do not be ashamed of that. Beginning again is not weakness. Sometimes it is the clearest sign that you have grown strong enough to stop forcing what is no longer working. Act as if everything will work out by trusting your ability to adapt. You may not know where the road leads. You may not have certainty. You may not even feel confident today. But you can still take one step, then another, and another. Eventually, you will look back and realize that the situation you feared would destroy you became one of the experiences that strengthened you. So stop demanding certainty before you move forward. You do not need guarantees, you need courage. Tell yourself, I may not know exactly what happens next, but I trust myself to face it. If I fall, I will rise. If I fail, I will learn. If the path changes, I will adapt. I will keep moving forward. That is what it truly means to act as if everything always works out. It is not blind optimism, it is inner trust. It is knowing that whatever life brings, you will not abandon yourself.